Woosah.
What did Maya taught me? Man, McLean. It's like, okay, here we go. What is up, everybody? WTF? Welcome to Funkatopia. Yeah, I actually have the mug ready. Welcome to Funkatopia. I am your I'm actually going to be the co-host tonight. No, I'm not. I'm your host, Mr. Christopher. That is my illustrious co-host, Mr. Michael Bland, right there.
Yes.
Your face.
In the face. I'm telling you, in the face. In the face. Yes, in the face. I don't know why. It's just it's a vibe.
Yes, it is. It is. It is.
Lord.
Yeah, man. I actually I don't know if anybody, maybe people will notice little nuances in the background of some things that I changed. For instance, right over here, I have the you can't really see it really well because it's up against, but I have the electric, the electric thing from Sign of the Times, the laser thing.
Oh yeah.
I also have I'll have to make myself bigger so you can see this. I also have this poster in the back. The Exodus has begun. other little nuances that I have, but man, I hope that you guys are doing well tonight. Man, we have it's not an action-packed show. It's essentially a lot of me talking, and we're going to go do some back and forth. We're going to answer some questions. There was a lot of questions. I went up to Minneapolis last week, had a great time, got to see the mighty Michael Bland with Urban Classics Revelation, man, and special guest Liv Warfield, all them fine folks on the stage.
Cheers.
I literally just posted a 10-minute or so video of Liv Warfield doing Motherless Child. Just posted that on the Facebook page. I hope that you got to see that, because you may not have, because I just posted it like maybe an hour before the show. But
I see,
man, it was amazing. Great show, man. I really enjoyed it. We're going to talk a little bit about that. All right. But yeah, man, I got home and I was trying to unwind and just, man, my Jaden said, I want to go to the mall. I wanted to go to the mall. And I was like, you know what? I'll take you up to the mall and I'm going to go see a movie. And I was like, man, I want to go see Michael. I want to go see that Michael movie. I want to go see it. I know Dorothy Inez has been saying you need to go see it. You need to go see it, because she saw it on Tuesday night.
Really?
Wednesday. Yeah, she's already seen it like 3 times. And one time she even dressed up like Michael for one of the. She's like all in. She's all in.
Apparently.
Did you know that Dorothy Inez? I did not know this. Did you know that Dorothy? I found this out. I hope this is okay to divulge. Did you know that she used to be with the band Snap? I got the power.
I had no idea.
I did not know that either. Apparently she was a part of that project over in Europe and whatnot. And I did not know that about DI, but yeah. So and I've known her for years. It was like, how did I not know that? That's crazy. But yeah, she was talking about this Michael thing. So she's gonna friggin' kill me because I get to the mall and it's starting. The movie doesn't start like for another 45 minutes. And then it's also like over 2 hours long. And the movie theaters now do like a half hour of previews. So instead of seeing Michael, I ended up seeing the new Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Oh man.
Because it was happening sooner and it was a shorter movie and I knew I was going to be able to get in and get out. So I do want to see it. Yeah. I do want to see it. And I am going to see it. And I'm also really particular about movies that I see. Not that Super Mario Galaxy falls into this category, but I'm a big I was a big video gamer back in the day. I loved Mario. I can't tell you how many sleepless nights I spent just playing stupid Nintendo back when I was younger. I just wanted to see it because I was in that mode. And I just wanted to see something that I was going to, and I want to see Michael, but I also want to see movies that are, designed for the big screen, and that probably is, and I just blew it, but I will see it. I've heard lots of fantastic. Yeah, I did. Some Good Glider says you didn't have time to see Project Hail Mary. Actually, Project Hail Mary, I did actually see. It was actually, somebody had it on Plex, and I was like, is this already on Plex? And I clicked on it, and yeah, it was a full friggin' movie, and I watched it, and then found out that it was not supposed to be on Plex, and it was. So but it was like a screener copy, I guess, because it was like fine. There was no issues with it or anything. But what was interesting is that you play the preview of that movie before the actual movie. They actually had I Would Die for You done in some weird it was like some new remix of it that was playing in it.
Sure.
The whole movie, and that did not happen in the movie. I was like, maybe I was just in the moment and I didn't catch it because it was really strange. But yeah, Project Hail Mary was actually pretty good. I actually enjoyed that. That was kind of funny. It kind of, it's
all right,
fantastic, but it was, movies for the entertainment value. And speaking of which, we're speaking of Michael. I saw this on X that Michael got a 39% from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes, but the audience felt totally different and gave it a 96%. So the audience loves it, but the critics are not a huge fan.
Well, that happens. Yeah.
I don't, there's probably a lot of movies that are like that. So, I don't know. I do want to see it. I definitely want to see it. I'm also nervous because I like Michael Jackson so much that I was a little bit nervous. I didn't know what I want to see, and I don't want to read too many reviews, and because I was hoping they didn't touch on the touching. I was hoping they didn't touch on any.
Right.
Please don't touch on any of this stuff, man. Don't ruin this movie for me. I mean, it's the same. I mean, it's probably the same type of feedback that you would get from like, the Netflix documentary that was coming out from,
Fair
Prince
enough.
and stuff,
Of course,
because it's like, it's like, I don't want to see you, saying stuff that can't be proven. It's all hearsay, and none of these people, we'll talk a little bit about the Netflix thing too. Actually, I don't think I talked about the next Netflix thing in the rundown of scenarios and things that Londell covered in the impromptu meeting that was called at but I want to talk about the Minneapolis in its in chronological order, I guess. So that's how I'm gonna address it. Did I tell you that I parked outside? I had a good parking place outside of Dakota for the show, and that I got a ticket.
You talking about right on the street there?
I had it. Well, see, first off, I had coverage. I was paid till 9:42 or something like that. And after 10 o'clock, you don't have to have it. So I only had like an 18-minute window that I had to like get away with it.
And they got you?
They got me, but what it was is that the ticket was from 8:55 and I was covered at 8:55. But then when I call Minneapolis Police Department, they says, if you want to contest it, you have to schedule an appearance in court to plead your case. And it's like, what? I got to fly all the way up to Minneapolis to friggin' contest this. I don't even know how much it is.
Pay the $80, man.
I hope it's not $80. Just like, how much I don't know how much parking tickets are. Somebody said
drive,
30.
So I couldn't tell you.
I think DI said, it's probably gonna be about $30. If it's $30, I'll just pay it. But I just kind of feel like, wait, you gave me a ticket when I was covered, and I have the text message showing when I was covered till, and the ticket's right in the middle of that. And I'm like, but technically I did break the law for 18 minutes, but that's not what they wrote the ticket for. They wrote the ticket for when I was covered. So I don't know.
Well, hey, how much is it worth to you?
I don't know. $30. I'm hoping, because
$30. Okay.
But it was a rental car. So I'm like,
yeah.
And I had a horrible rental car experience, by the way. Let me just go ahead and get, we got 2 more minutes before we actually get into the show and we do exactly what we're we're supposed to do, which is talk about the Minneapolis visit. But this is the pre-show for those of you folks that are brand new to us. This is the pre-show where we talk a little bit about anything and everything and all the little, the dangling things that need
participles and whatnot.
Right.
Yes. The dangling participles. Ooh, boy.
Yeah. So, anyways, and I think that's what they do. I think you're right. Arlene says the same thing happened to me. Rental plates. Yeah, I think. I think the same thing. I think they see that it's a rental car and they go, "Oh, this person's not going to come back to Minneapolis."
Exactly. Let's get this quick money.
Yeah, that's right. So it's like, okay, you guys. But I think even if I was there till 10, it was like, we're still doing fine. But anyways, I don't know. I don't even remember what I was going to say. I kind of went off the rails, but that's okay. Man, it was a good visit though. I had a good time. Oh, I remember it was a public service announcement. If you go to rent a car, do not rent from a company called Next Car. Do not.
All right.
They prove them. They say that they are at the Minneapolis airport, and they're not.
All right.
They are. I had to wait for a shuttle, a hotel shuttle, to bring me all the way to Bloomington, like further into Bloomington. And I just missed the shuttle, and I was going to have to sit there for another hour, and I was already running on empty because I had, it's 8:00. I might as well go ahead and start going into the story. So I am, welcome to Funkatopia. Again, I am your host, Mr. Christopher. This is the Mighty Michael Bland. We're going to be discussing my trip up to Minneapolis, and that's where Michael is at, in that area up there, technically Eden Prairie. But we had a great time up there. We had what a great show you guys put on, man. It was just a phenomenal show.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
I think it's something I said, and I can't remember what it was. I thought that I re-looked at the set list, and I thought maybe I just read it wrong, but I thought you guys were really mixing it up and doing. You were still doing Prince, but that I didn't realize it was going to have that much Prince in it, which was fantastic. It was so good. But on the same note, I kind of felt like, well, all right, this is really, really good, considering that hey, it was 420. And we're Michael. It's me and Michael Bland in Minneapolis on 420 at the Revelation show. So I'm just Jaden just texted me, so I got to make sure this is muted because I know it's going to ring as soon as we start the show. So it was just a really fun show. But first, I had to get out there, so I flew out on 420. I had points to use to get out there, so I went out via using American. And American does not go directly to Minneapolis. You have to, none of the flights go directly to Minneapolis. I had to go to Chicago and then over to Minneapolis.
Okay.
The flight left at 6:30, which means that I had to leave at 3 in the morning about 3:30 in the morning from my house, and to get out to the airport, then get out to the airport to get on the flight at 6:30, because I still didn't know. I didn't have a full level of comfort about what was going on, with the TSA and all that stuff.
I got you.
All right, I just don't know where I'm at.
Sure.
But I was sitting at the gate for about an hour. So I was like, well, shoot, I could have been sleeping, but I saw the people piling in behind me. So maybe it was fine.
Yeah.
So I get to Chicago, had about an hour layover in Chicago, and then out to Minneapolis, get to the airport and find out that Next Car does not have an actual place at the airport like they said. It was small print. It says, go out to the gold level, whatever, and get on the hotel shuttle over to whatever this hotel is. I know what the name of the hotel is, but I'm not going to drag them down with this. So the hotel shuttle had already left. So I was going to be sitting there for another hour, and I had already been up since 3:00 in the morning. So I took a cab. It cost me $40 to get from the airport to the hotel in Bloomington. And I was just like, this is why cabs are no longer. It cost me $7 just to sit my butt down in the back seat of that car. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I was like already a little bit frustrated and ticked off about that. Get there, and there's no live person. It is a kiosk in the hotel lobby with a screen with a guy from India on the other side. I assume he was from India, He was he was Indian, but I don't know exactly where he was, but he was an Indian guy. And he's using broken English, and I'm just like, and the guy, there's already a guy in front of me, and who's already fuming because I guess he's been there longer than he had anticipated, and he's screaming at the thing, "What do you need now? You need a card? What is this card for? What isn't it?" So anyways, I get all that done, finally get to the hotel, and it's like, all right, I'm going to sleep for 2 hours. That didn't happen because basically what happened was, did I not screen capture it? Oh yeah. Because I happened to see, as I'm laying down, I was like, all right, let me just see, what's going on. And then I see this post from Londell from last night, from the night before. This is April 20th, was like 12:30 in the morning in Minneapolis. And the post basically says, at Bunkers with Prince Fam, some want to have another discussion like we had at Celebration. For updates, clear the air and discuss the future before Celebration. In the spirit of communication and transparency, I'm available tomorrow at Paisley Park tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Okay.
And I'm looking at my watch and it's already like 1:30. And I'm like, okay. So this nap is not happening. So now I'm going to have to get my rental car, already running on empty, and get down there for this thing. And I'm just like, all right, so not exactly sure what the whole thing is going to be, but the first thing he said, I don't even have my book with me. I had this purple book, and I opened it up and I sat right in the front. When I first got there, I actually did a post and I said, it's 2:45 and there's nobody here. I actually did a video from inside MPG Music Club. And I said, it was me and like one or two other people. And I was like, it's 2:45. And then surprisingly enough, within that 15-minute window, a bunch of people showed up. So there was probably about, I don't know how many people were in that room, maybe 30 or so, about 3 dozen. I mean, that's probably about right. So a bunch of people did show up, and then he came down, but then right before they did the interview or did this impromptu session, they made everybody go out, and they were like, okay, they're moving us out because they're going to take our phones away from us now and put them in these yonder bags. So it's like, okay, so this is what's happening now. So we go out to the thing. They put our phones in the yonder bags, and we go in. I thought, well, this is probably going to maybe last an hour or whatever. Because I still had to, or for those who don't know, I DJ'd and MC'd Michael's show, both of Michael's shows. So I knew that I was going to have to get down there to Minneapolis to set up camp and do all that. So I was already under a little bit of a time crunch as it was, and running on empty. And so I sat on the front table. I had my notebook. I opened it up. I had a pen. And he sits down and he does, the cordial thing. Hey, how's everybody doing? How are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Well, what's going on? I hope you are all doing well. Da, 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 da. And then he looks directly at me and he goes, this is off the record. I had my book and I just went,
clip.
I was like, okay. So come to find out, and a lot of people, I think I had mentioned that online after the meeting, and I said, we just had this meeting there. He did cover quite a bit, but he did say off the record. So I need to talk with him before I share anything with you about what was said in here, even though the other people aren't going to follow those rules, because as soon as these other people walk out of the room, they're probably on their socials going, he said this and he said that. And he said that. But I was just like, this is, you guys know the dance that's been going on. I showed the video right when we first started. This is the video of us in the estate. I love that video. I'm sorry. It makes me laugh every time. But again, I'm trying to turn a new leaf. I'm trying to make sure that, we're staying in communication, and that, I'm just trying not to step on any toes. I want to be able to bring people information. I want to be able to bring, I want to be able to bring people information, but I want to do it under the rules that they set. I don't want to upset the balance of what this is. So when I posted that, man, people got really upset. Why would he call a town hall meeting and then say it's off the record? That's ridiculous. Blah, 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 blah. And it was a bunch of, and people were just attacking, and not just attacking them, but attacking me. And I was just like, this is too much, man. I can't, so I just said, you know what? I'm just going to have to just turn off socials, because it got worse later on, which I'll explain later on. Because I always feel like I'm a people pleaser. I always feel like I need to respond to every negative thing that's said, or, at least speak my case to everything. Mm-hmm. And then I finally come to the realization that is ridiculous. That is just like, it's just not, it's just not possible to try to please everybody. And if somebody's already talking stuff about you, you're not going to change their mind by a witty retort. It's just not going to happen. It's just like, okay, I'm not going to do this battle. I feel like this is frustrating. This
is the rule, is that if they'll talk yang about somebody else to you, mm-hmm. they'll talk yang about you too.
Oh yeah.
It is. That's what it is.
So
you have to decide whether you're going to live for other people or yourself. Really? I mean,
right.
That's the question everybody has to ask. It's like, is it important? Is it more important for you to make sure they get what they need, or for you to get what you need?
Yeah. So that was the balance that I had to do. Is just like, sure. Because if I'm reading it and I'm absorbing it, it's just, the negativity was just so overwhelming. Because if we fast forward, I talk about a lot of the positive experiences that I did have while I was up there with the estate. Sure. I had a lot of positive experiences with the estate. Did you watch Real Time with Bill Maher at all?
Sometimes, but he's so offensive to my wife, and me too, in a way, sometimes. Well, not lately.
Well, he's got a whole shtick of bad mouthing Trump and doing whatever, but he was invited to the White House to have dinner with Trump, and he came back from having dinner with Trump, and he was like, that was a pretty great positive experience. And it's kind of, it's really strange to see, that side of things. And he got eaten alive. I mean, because it's like, oh my God. And I kind of felt like it was almost, it was like a similar scenario where I was sharing some of the positive experiences that I had with the estate. And I didn't really go into details. I just said it was a positive experience. And mm-hmm. man, people, it was just a barrage of, oh, well, he's selling out. He's doing this. He's, oh, here we go. Well, we lost another one. All this kind of stuff is like, okay, I'm not even, that right there that I just said mm-hmm. was all the energy that you guys are going to get from the negative crowd. That's it. That's all the energy that you're going to get. That is enough for me to let you know, I see you. I see what you said. I read it. I considered what you said, and that's it. So I just have to move forward. I just have to move forward in a positive way. And that's kind of the crux of the show tonight, is to kind of tell you a little bit about the things that were said at that town hall meeting and beyond. Also, since we're going to stay in chronological order, talk about the phenomenal Urban Classic Revelation shows that happened at the Dakota. Man, just friggin' fantastic. Which was really just that was just a really, really good highlight, for that evening for me. It was just like, okay, this is real. This is why I'm here in Minneapolis. It's just
awesome, man. Anyways,
yeah. So anyways, Londell did get back with me, and he said, look, you can share everything that we discussed. And he said this via X, which is Twitter for folks that don't do Twitter. He said basically you can share everything that was in there except for this personal story that somebody had told. Don't do that. And so okay, all right. So here we go. I had to leave 10 minutes early to kind of fast forward just a little bit. I had to leave about 10 minutes before this thing ended, and I didn't know it was going to end in 10 minutes. It just seemed like continue going on because I had to get to downtown Minneapolis because I was MCing DJ in your event. And I said, I just have to leave. And I hated leaving because I was sitting in the front row. Like literally it was like Lundell, and then my table was right there. And I was sitting right there. And I was just like, this is like the worst possible place to just sit if you gotta leave.
If you gotta leave, because everybody in the room was going to, especially
It's like,
Lundell. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going. So I was like, oh, Lundell's got to be going. God dang, man. But Lundell and Charles are sitting in the front, and Charles really didn't do much talking at all. It was primarily 95% Lundell. So at the end, he actually put a sheet of paper out for people to put their email addresses and whatever, and he sent out an email that kind of recapped what was discussed at the meeting, but again, not with any really big details. So I'm going to talk about the bullet points that were in that email, which was free to be. He sent it out. It was meant to be seen, and kind of talk about a little bit of the bullet points. He had the email essentially started out says, and these are just bullets. There literally were bullet points of things that were happening there. And they said, all parties dearly love Prince and want the best for Prince and his legacy. So that was the first bullet on there. I think that didn't need to be said. I think everybody in there was obviously, came into town, did this thing, whatever. So I think it's really important to clarify this to a lot of people that, believe it or not, they want to protect his legacy. They absolutely positively. I mean, they have a lot to lose in this. So, but the problem is that you have to make sure things are right. That the product is the best that it can be. They're not just trying to stop things from being distributed just for the sake of stopping it, just because, whatever it is that you think that they're stopping it for. So I think there's a big misconception about, some of the things. It's like, oh, we were supposed to get this. We didn't get this. Why didn't we get this? Oh, it was because of them. And it was because there's so much going on in the stories with some of the individual components that we are not privy to. And there's a reasoning why there's also that, there's a little bit of a lack of transparency. And we're going to talk about all those things. First off, were there missed opportunities? Yes, obviously there were. I mean, the 10-year anniversary, I feel like, was a missed opportunity, but, there's so many things that are beyond their control. They don't control everything. That's one big misconception that people have about the segment. And you know what, just to be clear, I'm not going to be reading the comments. Michael, if you want to read the comments and star them to be addressed later, you can, but I don't want to get derailed by something negative that somebody may have to say or whatever, because I'm sure that they're here.
So far, we're clear. I mean,
okay, good, great.
I think you've got everybody's attention, man.
Okay, good.
Let's see what you got to say, and then they'll.
Right, yeah, we'll go here. So to start, people were.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What you're going to say? You were going to say something.
I'll keep an eye on the comments. No
okay, great. So, obviously, people were upset about some of the missed opportunities. We talked about the 10-year anniversary. We talked about. Why didn't this come out? Why didn't this come out? But again, there's stories behind a lot of it. So when I want to do my best to stay on track. So I kind of wrote some of this stuff out so that I could try to stay on track as best as I possibly can. And, but I had so many people after this was over, blowing up my phone, text, emails, saying, what was this? What happened here? What did this? So let's talk about the releases really quick, because I feel like that has been the big elephant in the room is why didn't this come out? And why didn't this happen? And why didn't this come out? And why didn't this happen? And there actually were legitimate reasonings for some of the things that happened. For instance, let's start with Diamonds in Love. Diamonds in Love was supposed to be a package that I guess had some outtakes and whatnot from Diamonds and Pearls, and had outtakes also from the Love Symbol album. And it was just kind of, put together. I'm not exactly sure what the final product would have ever looked like. I assume that there was some imagery of it kind of being out. But first off, in regards to Diamonds in Love, the Diamonds and Pearls box set was already out. It was a pretty substantial box set. Do I actually have it over here? I think I do. Yes, I do. This box set right here. I'll make myself big in case you guys have not seen this amazing, beautiful. I can't not making myself big, but I will now. Makes this amazing, beautiful Diamonds and Pearls box set. It was so well done, so beautiful. It was just fantastic. I'm not going to open it up. We're not doing an unboxing here. I think I've already done that. Gorgeous, gorgeous box set. And the release of this Diamonds in Love, really, it kind of caused two things. First off, it would have confused the market right out of the gate, because not everybody is hardcore fans like we are. We're going to go out and buy everything that released, no matter whether or not it overlaps with something else, or whether, whatever. They have a separate market that has to be considered. And those are not necessarily fair weather fans, but maybe fans that were specific fans of Diamonds and Pearls, were specific fans of the Love Symbol albums, specific fans of those albums. And let's just say you got a fan that loved Diamonds and Pearls. Maybe they didn't like the stuff from the 80s, but they love Diamonds and Pearls. So they go out and buy this box set. And now all of a sudden this new thing comes out called Diamonds in Love. And you kind of create this confusion. Like, we just got this box set. What is this? And from what they had said was that Prince Legacy LLC didn't want to release that way, because they feel very, very strongly that the Love Symbol album has its own story. It has its own story to be told. It shouldn't just be lumped in with Diamonds and Pearls and what probably may have been perceived as, oh, these are the scraps that didn't make it onto the box set, and we're packaging it here with a Love Symbol album. There was a story to be told with this box set. So the Love Symbol album has its own life, and deserves its own release. And so that material for the Love Symbol album, as far as what form it will take or whatever, that material will see the light of day outside of the leaks, but it will get its own treatment. Just know that. But that was part of the reasoning why they kind of were in that position of, hey, this is its own thing. That's the reason why Diamonds in Love didn't make it out. And again, they're trying to make sure that whatever they release, whatever they put out, has its own, that makes sense and is going to be marketed correctly in that way. The other complaint was, and these were all things that came up in the town hall meeting, no record store day release. There was a record store day release. It was the Sheffield concert, and it was the live show of that. But when they got the test pressings from the manufacturer, they weren't up to par. And I don't know exactly what was wrong with them. I don't know if there were skips. I don't know if there was, I don't know what happened, but whatever it was, they would have caught major upheaval if they had released that as record, because whatever that discrepancy was, or whatever that error was with that test pressing, if they would have put it out, they would have been like, well, this is what they're giving us. This is what, it's kind of like one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't scenarios, So I feel, so that was kind of, and they didn't have time to react. They didn't have time to fix that issue. And so there was that. And this is not something that was said during the town hall meeting, but I heard it from somebody in the Purple Circle that told me something else that had occurred also that had some impact on releases as well. Again, I'm not divulging who this person is. I did reach out to them. I said, hey, I'm going to tell folks about, what you had mentioned about, but I was trying to get, further details. But someone on the inside that we all know and love was there for another planned release that I think was supposed to happen in 2025, but they got hijacked from Taylor Swift because, again, this did not come from Prince Legacy. This came from somebody internally who kind of was aware of the scenario. But I heard that Taylor Swift's label Republic pretty much used up all the vinyl manufacturers and their hands were tied. It was the release of her album Life of a Showgirl, and it was like 1.5 million pressings of this thing. And I don't know if it was multiple albums or what it was, but they pretty much used up. There's not like an insane amount of vinyl manufacturers out there that do it on this level that they're at, and for whatever reason, it just ended up screwing something up. Now, I don't know the validity of that, but the timing and everything it came from a very, very reliable source. And so there's just some things that were going on that there were explanations for. The other thing that came up was the Hollywood Walk of Fame star. You guys know, not too long ago, what was that? 2 or 3 broadcasts ago? Is that what it was? A few broadcasts ago when Gilbert Davison was on?
I think it was 3.
It was three episodes ago, and Gilbert Davison came on and announced that the Hollywood Walk of Star was canceled. And of course, there was a lot of feedback and it was stopped. And the reason that was given that it was stopped was that when Prince was here, when Prince was with us, he was offered the star twice, and he turned it down twice. He said no to it twice. The first time he said he wasn't ready, and the second time I'm not actually maybe opposite of this. I think the first time he said the timing isn't right, and the second time he said he wasn't ready. And those were both quotes from him on that matter. However, let me go ahead and get some clarification here on this too. There is no public record of Prince ever saying that he didn't want one because he didn't want his name walked on. That was a Muhammad Ali thing.
Yes.
That was a Muhammad Ali thing, but I'm sure Prince agreed with it and, felt similarly that he didn't want his name walked on, but there's no public record of him ever saying that. And if somebody said that he heard them say that, that's hearsay, we don't know. I literally don't know.
Right on.
I do know that they did make an appeal to maybe possibly have his star put up on the wall like Muhammad Ali's, but the Hollywood Walk of Fame people said no. It's not going to happen. That's just, I guess it was just a one-time thing for Muhammad Ali or whatever. But again, Prince never said that. And you can't find anything online to prove otherwise. He never said that. So again, what's happening here is that, they're really kind of doing this hardcore protection of Prince's legacy. What would Prince really, really want? And if we release something, it needs to be to the standard and the quality and everything else that we've come to know from Prince. I mean, you have to make sure that you are releasing material in a way that is going to be on par with what he would have given us if he was here. And some of these releases are. But the problem is that all the general public sees and all the fans see. And I know before people start nitpicking, I'm going to say fans a lot tonight. I know we're not supposed to say fans, we're supposed to say fam, but I just, what I'm saying. I know people are just going to nitpick things all night. So just know that this is going to be interchangeable tonight. But the fam hear a lot of misinformation, or they don't hear any information at all, which kind of goes to the next bullet that was in that letter. The next bullet that was in that letter, and I'm reading it verbatim. All that commentary in the middle is just me, but I'm reading the bullets verbatim. This is the next bullet, which says more communication and information is desired, yet some information is unable to be disclosed in advance by the Prince Estate and Paisley Park for legal, commercial, and other reasons beyond the control of the estate managers. So what came up a few times during this, and even came up in the discussion that I had with them before they even had this town hall meeting that I had personally with them on the phone, was transparency. What I'm hearing the most of, it's like, you guys aren't communicating with us about information. We're not getting information in a way that, we feel we need to be informed. Why aren't you telling us what happens? Well, a couple of things here. First, they don't have to tell us anything.
Yes, right. That's first. You're not entitled.
That's right.
Yes.
You're not sitting at the table. You're not the powers that be. That's item number one. So we'll just be candid about that right out the gate. They don't have to tell you anything.
None of your business.
But secondly, what they were referring to in the bullet as far as unable to disclose in advance by the Prince Estate for legal, commercial, and other reasons. Fans aren't typically seeing through the legal lens of, do I have that? Please tell me I have that sound thing.
This is a business, and you ain't too far gone to see that yet.
Yes.
So,
that's right.
So they can't just jump on the socials and start pointing the finger or naming people or blaming people for certain things and saying, well, it was this facility, this vinyl pressing facility that screwed them something up. So, they're the reasons why, you can't be, and they can't name check people and stuff for, as far as following the process for the dissemination of products and news and events, because then what ends up happening, again, these are attorneys, it's not just Londell, who's, one of the biggest entertainment attorneys out there. It's other attorneys in the mix as well. And, then you start facing defamation lawsuits, and then you start, publicly putting people on blast. And for the Prince Estate, that is not a good look. So they just stay quiet and just stop things that should be stopped. And kind of get in the way of things that aren't really planned out that well, or not really fleshed out the way that it needs to be fleshed out, again, to give you what you guys want, but at the same time, at the level of quality that you guys want. But from the outside, it just looks like you're not telling us anything. You don't care. You just don't want to, you just want to stop this, or you just want to stop that. And there's just pieces that we're not seeing or understanding. And that is kind of the point of that, is just like, look, and I'm not privy to the conversations or the inner workings of what they're doing, the reasoning for some of the decisions that they're making, or any of that. I'm not privy to any of that. So it doesn't help anybody to kind of jump to conclusions about why something may have happened. And what's kind of a little bit cool, is that they do, if you have questions, you can ask them. Matter of fact, in I think the last email that Londell sent out, he said, if you have questions, just email celebration@paisleypark.com. And obviously that is designed specifically for questions and things regarding and concerns for Celebration. But, he's utilizing it as like, hey, I'm watching this thing. If there's something that you need that needs to be, asked, go ahead. And let me just say, if you're on Twitter, or maybe you jumped Twitter because you don't like Elon, or whatever it is that, any whatever reason that you don't like Twitter, he is very active on Twitter. Matter of fact, I think he personally replied to like a dozen different tweets that people had, accusations that people had made about him, complaints that people had, perceptions. And he personally addressed like a bunch of them, which really goes to show that in regards to the transparency part of things, they're like, okay, we hear you. Let's address some of these things. Which is actually kind of funny, because I started to do the same thing, but I would start writing a reply to somebody that posts something, whatever it was, negative. And I would like do like a paragraph or 2-paragraph reply just to get it out of my system. And then I would erase it. I wouldn't post it. I was just like, you know what? It's like, I'm just not gonna do that. I mean, that's the only nibble on your line that you're going to get from me. Cause I just can't, I don't want to feed it. I don't want you to know that you've gotten to me. I don't want you to know that you're irritating me. There are friends that call me on the phone and say, did you see so-and-so? It's like, yeah, so-and-so. And I'll bitch and moan to them, but, I'm not doing it publicly because I know that there's, confidentiality between me and somebody else that I'm talking to specifically about something. Cause you and I have talked directly about everything that occurred here. Not everything, but, that's basically that part of it.
Well, the facts of it, at least.
Right. Correct. Exactly. So speaking of which, in regards to him being pretty active on socials, just go there. Just go to x.com and look up Londell's account, and he's there. You can, and he's responding to a lot of stuff. He's been actively responding. And even if there's some things that he can't answer, he'll be like, he's honest. He's like, I don't know. That's not what I do. I don't do that part. I don't do that part. I don't do that part. And that was the other part too, that we'll kind of get to too, is that they're being blamed for like everything. And there's a reasoning for that. And we'll talk about that for a second too. The next bullet in the letter, let me get to that. It says the press and social media communications should be more factual and objective, not biased. Okay. That bullet is going to get a little bit of pushback for a couple of reasons, but I understand what he's saying. First off, that came from, or that was actually more, it was sparked from a couple of things. First off, they're being attacked on a regular basis, every single day, multiple times a day on social. It's especially X. It is like, woof, it's like piranhas in there. But what caused that to come up is that your journalist up there, he's pretty much world renowned just because Prince made him world renowned, John Bream. John Bream apparently did an article a couple of weeks ago referring to, I don't remember the exact statement, but the article essentially said something to the effect that they have a lack of management at Paisley Park. And he said it in the Star Tribune, and that did not set well with Londell, and Londell wanted to set the record straight. Matter of fact, Londell invited John Bream to come to that town hall meeting. He said, John, look, I know what you're saying. I need you to come here to the town hall meeting. I need you to get into this room, and I'm going to introduce you to the management team of Paisley Park. And he literally brought out the management team of Paisley Park, and she was like, this is so-and-so, and she does this. This is so-and-so, and she does this. This is so-and-so, and he does this. He literally introduced everybody to the management team of Paisley Park just to kind of prove a point that's like, if you're going to say something like this in public, at least get your facts straight.
Yeah.
And I guess it was so effective, not the town hall meeting part of it, because John Bream did not attend. Londell invited him, but he didn't come. He did come to the candlelight ceremony the next day, but for this event, the town hall thing on 420, he did not come. But he was trying to prove a point. It's like, look, don't say these things when it's not substantiated. It just doesn't make sense.
Sure.
And I guess he must've got on the phone with John. I assume they probably have each other's numbers. But John modified the article and took that piece out. And I guess there's a few different locations where he changed it. So Londell was able to kind of prove his point and get John to change it and say, you want to have journalistic integrity, take this kind of stuff out. Now, I can't speak to periodicals like that, but here's my pushback on the social platforms. It's the Wild West. That's what social platforms are for. That's what Facebook and Instagram and X and Reddit and all those places are for. It's not necessarily for it, but it is certainly a venue for distaste, displeasure, distrust, any other disses for whatever you're upset about. You know what I mean? You do you, boo. You're upset about something and you want to vent, that you can go to any of these places. You can go to any of these places and you can do that. And they do.
That's right.
And I will fess up. You guys have seen it. I mean, I've done it publicly. I'm in that mix for sure. I've always, been very, very critical of this, that, and the other, not quite to the extent that a lot of these people are. There's some pretty hardcore people that have dedicated vast amounts of hours and time and energy to, bashing them or whatever. And they're just like, but it had to have a moment of clarity for myself after I was personally walked through some of the perceptions of me and Funkatopia from them one-on-one. They're like, okay, this, and all the things that they were saying were all true. So it was just like, it's like, you go into an argument and you think you're prepared, and then they go, well, what about this? And you're like, okay, yeah, all right. I was like, what about this? And you're like, okay, yeah.
He's a lawyer.
Right, I know.
Don't forget that.
Yeah,
That's his job.
Yeah, I know. So, but they're saying all these things, and it's like, and when you hear people's perception from that side, and this is outside of the Funkatopians realm and my ecclesia that are here. Thank you so much for all of you that follow Michael and I here at Funkatopia. We love you dearly, and thank you so much for coming here and supporting us and being a part of this. And I'm hoping, I swear to God, I haven't read one comment since I've started talking, just because I don't want to get sidetracked, because I want to make sure that I stay on point and don't get yanked out to address something that somebody said.
One dude heated up, but they calmed him down.
So we'll get there. We'll get there. That's fine. But when I heard some of their perceptions of me and Funkatopia, I was like, oh my, that's not me at all. That you may perceive it like that, but that's not what's happening. That's not what I'm doing. But I can see why it's like that. And I've had people call me, personal friends of mine call me and say, okay, well, tell me about what happened, what their thoughts were. And, we just kind of had a little bit of a come to Jesus meeting, and it was just like, yeah, okay, then that's something that needs to be changed. And listen, at the end of the day, I want to be helpful to the Prince Estate, not just Prince Legacy, LLC, whatever primary wave, who I want to be helpful. I want Funkatopia and me to be a voice for you. And most of all, this is the most difficult part, is also I want to be taken seriously. So when I announced that I wanted to be taken seriously, and that I was going to kind of be changing some things around on Funkatopia, I was going to be, doing some of this and doing something. I really haven't gone into the specifics of what things have changed, but I was curious more of like, if I change these things, will anybody even notice that I've changed those things? So I'm kind of in an experimental process right now where it's just like, I'm going to change those things and let's see if they notice that. Obviously this change being this whole positive, this positive vibe that I'm giving out here regarding the Prince Estate, is that kind of flies a little bit of it. That's one of the more obvious ones. But again, when I shared the fact that I had a very, very positive interaction with the estate, man, they laid into me online. I mean, but that's okay. I mean, again, that's what social is for, is to express your opinions. And I realize that I'm going to lose some people from the dark side. And but I'm not going to be, I don't want to be that angry curmudgeon who just wants to complain and whine about everything, because it's really not going to change anything. Because I want to be able to make a difference and not just be noise, So, and if you're telling me to change something, and it doesn't make sense, it like, why would I change that? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't benefit me to change that, and it doesn't benefit you to change that. But the changes that I'm thinking about, or that I'm actually, executing, are purposeful. It's that it's for that goal to be more more accessible and more, more positive, and kind of help to move these things along. I mean, because just being angry and complaining and saying, why didn't this happen? And why didn't this? And what because it didn't happen. And you don't know the reasoning for it. You'll find out eventually, like, some of you found out some of the things today, but it doesn't move the needle. It doesn't change anything. And I think the other part of this, which is it's another one of these elephants in the room. Since we already had an elephant in the room, let's move to the rhinoceros in the room. That a lot of people are wrapped up. How do I say this? I'm trying to say it positive way. A lot of people are wrapped up into the personalities and history of the people that are involved. So they like so overwhelmed by it emotionally that they can't just move on. And, listen, I've seen and heard things that didn't set well with me. I've seen clips and been like, that wasn't great. But I also realize as a podcaster that sometimes things just get said in the moment and then it's out there. And that all goes back to why there's not a lot of transparency, because everything that gets said is going to be combed over with the fine-tooth comb, analyzed, assessed, and judged. And I myself experience that regularly. I'm sure you probably experience that too. But but the reality is I'm nobody important in the business of Prince. Nobody. I'm just not. And listen, whoever is sending me text right now, I'm not going to read them. Okay. So I appreciate you guys sending me texts, but I'm not reading them. You guys know the alternate ways to get here if you need to be. Anyways, and understand this is probably one of the most important things I'll say tonight. No matter how you feel about individuals, no matter how you feel about the progress, no matter how you feel about business structures, no matter how you feel about what you see, what you don't see, what you know, what you don't know, or the way the contracts are laid out, or what contracts happened, or what, no matter what, anything that is going to get released is going to come from the people at the helm right now. No matter what. Mm-hmm. So no matter what you say, no matter how you feel about those people, what you want is going to come from those people. So we just need to figure out a more productive way to be part of this. And I had to decide for myself and Funkatopia if I wanted to be a productive partner in this process that can be a voice for them worth listening to, or just be more noise. And so I decided that I would rather be a productive partner. So I'm gonna let you just maybe spout for a second while I take a drink, but
yeah, I don't know. It's how it is. I mean, some people they're all for vibrating low, or they don't really. Yeah. They think that you're becoming. They think that any change is a matter of pandering, and it's not a matter of enlightenment. It's clear that the state has been trying to bridge the gap somewhat. I don't know if they're doing it, the way these people want it done, but it's clear that they're speaking. And they want to be heard, and they want they want to listen.
Yeah. Oh, sure. So there's
these
that
things
part.
Take time. It's like
they do.
These people are not creatives. That's not the business that they're really in. They're looking at the numbers and the ratios, and it's not simply a matter of like, well, Prince gave us unreleased music, so why can't they just continue to however they want to slice it? It's the bottom line.
Exactly.
They're not looking at it that way, and we're not looking at it the other way. Well, many of us. So I think the only way to bridge the gap is to literally communicate. I mean, I don't mind saying they came to the show on 420.
Yeah, you talk about that.
Yep. I didn't expect them to show up. I more expected them to probably shut it down than anything. They are changing their posture. They are looking at things differently. And me personally, I'm here for maximum access. So whatever it takes, man, as long as we can have a reasonable dialogue and get somewhere, you know,
Yeah.
I don't see a reason to hold on to the hate. I mean, why hate them in the first place? They're not really doing anything to anybody. They're trying to figure out how to protect and how to thrive, how to build, you know, how to sustain, you know.
Yeah. Agreed. And you had mentioned, one of the things you just mentioned in passing was you almost thought, yeah, they may shut this down because we're doing, a lot of Prince music.
I mean, we didn't advertise it that way, but I mean, we can't control how the venues, disseminate their promotion. Our tagline is a retrospective of the Minneapolis sound. We don't mention Prince,
Right. Yeah.
So there are parameters. The important thing is to find out what they are and then proceed from there.
Right. And I know that most of, and I've heard there's been other shows that have been canceled. And again, I don't want to focus on the negative things that have happened and kind of, draw attention to some of the things that have happened. Sure. But I know Chase Innovation show was canceled or something. It was a couple of shows, maybe one of your shows, Chanhassen Dinner Theater, but it wasn't, I think what was happening there didn't have anything to do with the bands.
Right.
And again, this is just my perception because of the fact that there's a primary wave component here that has to deal with music licensing. And every venue, I don't know if you guys know this, but and Michael, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I've always known, is that any venue that you play in has to have a music license to play anything, to play any licensed artist, because any public performance, regardless of whether it's, if you walk into a bar and they're playing the radio on the speaker or they're playing music on the speaker, they have to have a music license for that. You can't just like flip it on and go, oh, I'm going to create ambiance with such and such station. You can't do that. It is legally, you can't do that. And I'm trying to get, I was trying to find some answers, not that we really need to chase down any answers, but it definitely has to do with music licensing. And I don't know necessarily that it had anything to do with the individual artist. I think it may have something to do with the Chanhassen Dinner Theater. Maybe they didn't have the proper music licensing. So anything that was going to be music related that could possibly touch on their world could fall into that realm. I don't know. Again, I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. But again, something else, we don't have the full picture of what it is. There has to be a reasoning for it. And I'm sure, if Chase Innovation go right to the source and say, why was it? They'd probably get an answer, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is like, canceled. We're canceled. They canceled. Look what they're doing now. That's not what's
there's quite a bit of that is beyond the estate. It has to do with global music rights or so on and so forth. And they have different agreements that venues have to come under depending on what it is they're doing. And I think the question is, does every venue that, hosts these things have the proper documentation? Are they, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, why now? These people have been doing this all this time, all these years, now all of a sudden you guys are doing all this stuff and, keeping the music for it. That's not what's happening. You're trying to get everything under control. They are not only battling the music licensing and people, playing his music and in a lot of cases generating revenue off of his name and off of his work and off of everything else without any compensation back to Prince. And that is problematic for them as the Prince estate. Not every single estate of posthumous artists or artists that are no longer with us do this hardcore thing. Like I don't think it's really necessarily hardcore. It's just they're just trying to get everything under control I think is what we're saying. But again, before we get too far down that rabbit hole, let's move on to the next bullet, because I got a lot to cover. The next bullet in this letter was the Prince estate is vast and complex with numerous stakeholders and decision makers. Now, that again was something that came up multiple times. I've already mentioned it before, is how Prince Legacy LLC, which is essentially Londell, Charles, and Johnny Jr., Prince's nephew. They're the ones, they're kind of taking a lot of heat. They're the ones that kind of getting blamed for everything. And the reason why it looks that way is because they're the only ones talking. You know, nobody from Primary Wave is out front talking and going, nobody knows who else to turn to, and they're the most visible. So the family isn't talking.
Yeah.
Again, Primary Wave isn't talking. You know, see represented from Primary Wave or from one of the or Warner Brothers or anybody labeled coming out talking and, you know, making themselves visible and kind of, you know, saying, hey, I'm a target. Look over here. At least, you know, they're putting themselves out there to kind of, you know, get some of, you know, they're actually attracting a lot of that ire. So you can only see the things being said and respond to things being said from the people that are talking. And again, that's who's talking. Londell and Charles talk a lot. Londell more than Charles, but you get it. As a result, they get a lot of heat for the things that happen. And because no one else is talking, who else is there to complain to? That's the person that's talking. So that's the person I'm going to complain to. So I understand why they catch so much heat. I can see it from this side, because if I want to complain about something, that's who I'm going to name check, because I don't know who's responsible at Primary Wave. Right. I don't know. I don't know any of these people. That's the only person that I know. So I think in that regard, they're just outspoken gatekeepers. And I can't say I envy that at all. I just don't. So the next bullet said, substantial amounts of music released over the past 10 years, yet the demand for more is clear and evident. We all want more, and there is more in development scheduled to be released. Did they talk about a schedule? No, they did not. Unfortunately, they did not. And they probably didn't want, even if they did have a date that they have etched on paper, which I know that they do, they're scared that if they miss it, they're going to be like, oh, here that day comes. It's come and gone, and y'all haven't done nothing. So there's like this apprehension is like, man, I'm going to release information to you with, okay. All right. So one of the brief portions of the discussion was bootlegs, getting ahead of the leaks. Again, they're constantly fighting it. It's an ongoing battle. That dynamic hasn't changed. And it does appear that they are being proactive about it. We just talked about the restaurant things, or the venue stuff, and some of the shows and things that are being affected. And he did make a really quick passing statement. He says more cease and desist are coming. Don't know what that meant. Don't know if it's big or small or whatever, but he was just sharing that, you know, look, we're not done. There's still people out there that are breaking a lot of rules. There's still people out there that have full Facebook channels dedicated to bootlegs, full YouTube channels dedicated to releasing videos of unreleased concerts and unreleased audio of that's what he's referring to. He's like, we have to put a stop to this, because some of this stuff we do actually plan for release, but isn't leaked, and some's happened internally and they've dealt with that. But it's just, you know, we all know that it's a lot bigger of an undertaking than they'll be able to handle. That's the reality of it. So most of the folks that are out there that are doing bootleg stuff are overseas. So, you from a legal standpoint, I guess you really can't get to them. I guess it's just, maybe you can, but it's just like more difficult to stop. But the goal of it is really, of these cease and desist, is really kind of to decrease the dissemination of, you know, some of these files that just don't sound good. Mm-hmm. Poor sound quality, bad mixes, just, you know,
I really think that's what, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I really think that's why Prince put out Crystal Ball. He was like, there's all these inferior mixes, you know, and versions of these songs. And a lot of what was on Crystal Ball, I had heard in bootleg version.
Yep.
You
same.
know? I think
everybody.
He was like, okay, let me give you clear version so you can stop buying, you know, the BS, you know, really. And just since I happen to have the floor for a second, Dorothy Inez actually did say, seriously, we all know Prince shut things down all the time.
Yes,
you know,
he did.
He didn't exactly just let it just run amok and just say, yes, be free. You know what I mean? It's like even he had a measured, you know, had a temperament about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. That's kind of where those things are at. And thank you, DI, for being here and kind of, you know, speaking on that, because it's true. It's just, he did do it. This is not something new that has happened under this new regime. He caught a lot of flack for it. You know, the most famous one being the mother that filmed her son dancing around the kitchen to Little Red Corvette or something. I don't know what it was. And
Right.
I'm putting it in some quotes because this is how Prince put it. He says it may actually be paraphrasing of quotes. His army of black lady lawyers, I think is how he said something to that effect.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah. Okay.
So it wasn't, this is not something new. This is something that they have to be able to get under control. And, it's just to your point, they want to make sure that what gets out there is going to be at the level of quality that Prince would wanted to have put in your hands. And that's not an easy task. And there's so much there. So the next couple of bullets were, and for those referencing, wondering what bullets I'm talking about, this is and for those that joined us late, this was a letter that this is a letter that Londell had sent out to people that attended this town hall meeting that occurred from like 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. on April 20th, this past Monday. And he asked everybody to kind of put their names and emails on the list so that he could send out kind of like a recap. And this is what this is from. I unfortunately had to leave 10 minutes early to go to the Urban Classic event, but he forwarded it to me and he goes, I saw you left early. In case you missed it, here it is. So this is what I'm reading from. So the next two bullets said, longtime Prince lovers wish to see and hear much more music for many personal reasons and would like to hear it in multiple formats. And the next bullet was, while long-term fans are important, continuing the path to reach future generations is also important and must be considered in future music releases. So I just happened while you were talking, I did break my rule and I did look at some of the chat room comments, and I did see people saying, we just want more music. Yes, we all want more music, and a lot has been digitized. But again, any releases have to make sense, and it has to be marketable, and it has to be effective. And one of the things that kept coming up were people saying, we're getting old. We're aging out.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the Prince fans, like we're 57. Those, some of the hardcore Prince fans that were like the same age as Prince are in their 60s. They're 10 years our senior. And yeah, they're aging out, and we're already have lost a lot of Purple Family over the past few years. It's been devastating. And some of them, are never going to be able to hear, some of this music. And so that came up like multiple times, just like, we're aging out, we're dying. But to that point, they're aging out too. But I promise you, they want to give you what you want, but it has to make sense. And it can't just be some money grab, something haphazard and just something to toss it out there. They want future generations to kind of be into what comes out next. Hence the Stranger Things thing that they did on Netflix, which was a master move because, they had not one, but two Prince songs in that finale of Stranger Things. And it had such an incredible impact on on the visibility, and they have to be able to kind of uncover and discover more of those opportunities to kind of get stuff out there. I just think it's just imperative. I just love the fact every single time I hear his name come up or something comes up, people, it just makes me smile. There's a new, this is going to be like just a 1 second rabbit hole. There's a new special on Netflix on Hulk Hogan. It's like a four-part series or whatever. And there's like one little brief moment. I think it's in the first episode, and maybe it might have been the second episode, where Hulk Hogan's father says to him, "You're almost as big as Prince's Purple Rain." And I had to smile. I was like, that's pretty cool. Obviously that was at that time window, but just anytime it comes up in something current, it always just makes me smile. But again, how can they connect to the younger generations and make sure the Prince legacy moves beyond us? Last celebration, matter of fact, there was a young individual. I don't remember how, maybe somebody in the chat room can remind me, but there was a young person that was in the chat room. Not in the chat room. I'm sorry. Somebody in the chat room can tell me how old that person was that was at the celebration last year at that town hall meeting that they had. And her suggestion was loosen up the reins on allowing Prince's music to be used in rap music. to be used as, you know, some of the back, you know, and of course, you know, a lot of the purists like myself were like, if it's done right, you know, that's one thing, but you know, I think it does lead, you know, that's not Diamonds in the Back is not the name of that song, but what's the name of that song? But you know, sometimes you hear those songs that in rap.
Be thankful for
like,
what you've got or whatever.
Yeah. And you know, some people hear that song, they're like, man, that flow is insane. And you know, it just creates that moment where people will actually want to dig further. And it's like, well, let me learn more about Prince. Let me learn more about, you know, this, that, and the other. I mean, who's Leon Huff? You know, that type of stuff, you know, that's what we need to be doing to kind of make sure that he's constantly in the conversation. So the next bullet is an interesting one. I know it's going to be a highlight for some people, but again, we are still talking about the town hall meeting that just happened this 420. We haven't even got to the rest of the day yet. We're still in day one. But the next bullet in that letter was, we all support the proposal offered by the Prince estate for a new form of the MPG Music Club. So MPG Music Club did come up last celebration. He did mention it. He goes, yeah, you know, why wouldn't we? Prince and Sam Jennings pretty much already did the blueprint for it. We already know how to do it. The technology is caught up to it. So why couldn't we do it? It's not, you know, there's no reason why we can't do it. Everything's there, and you know, kind of makes things a lot easier. So they passed the mic around for questions, and I asked the question. I said, we talked about the MPG Music Club last year at Celebration. Where is that? Where is it on the table? What's happening with it? And very simply, I will share with you, it is not dead. As I said, the blueprints are already laid out, and they were already executed by Prince and Sam Jennings, primarily Sam Jennings, you know, Prince being the idea man. Sam Jennings was like the executor. If you've never seen the interview that I did, I've done a couple of interviews with Sam Jennings. There was one that I did not even less than a year ago, where we were talking about specifically the MPG Music Club and the viability of the MPG Music Club now. What can work, what wouldn't work. And it's a whole broadcast on that. So if that's something you really are obsessed about and you really want to know more about, please go back and look at that episode that I did with Sam Jennings, talking in detail about the creation of it, the challenges that they had putting it up, everything that was occurring with it, and the feasibility of doing it again. So I'm not going to deep dive into that because I already did it. But to encapsulate it, they know how to do it. And the technology is finally caught up with Prince's brilliance. And no surprise, he's more than 30 years ahead of his time. But it'd have to be when MPG Music Club comes out, it's going to have to be different, because Prince is not here to do some of the things that they did with MPG Music Club, like the creation of those monthly 1 hour shows, the audio shows and clips. And if you recall, it wasn't always Prince's stuff. You know, sometimes he would have clips from Rhonda Smith's new album on there, or skits or dialogue and other artists besides himself. Sometimes you'd have like whole episodes where there may be like 6 or 7 clips and stuff of things that unreleased, but it wouldn't be the whole songs. It would just be like portions of songs, and they would be interwoven with a bunch of other artists as well. And so it was very, very different. So you couldn't do the same thing. So this isn't like the old MPG Music Club. It wouldn't be, because that's what people would complain about. Because when you release it, if you were to do it now, let's just say you did it and you were releasing concerts and sound checks and whatnot, people would complain. It was like, this isn't what I remember. This isn't how, where's this part? And where's that? Why isn't this happening? That's exactly what would happen at this point, because and one of the reasons why they're treading very cautiously with that, because they have to make sure that it's done in a way and, you know, properly setting expectations. Because in all honesty, I re-listened to a few of those NPG audio shows over the past week. And I thought to myself as I was listening to them, if the estate released something like this, like Prince did with the audio shows, everybody would complain.
I'm not hip. What is this audio? AHD.
Well, the MPG Music Club, one of the things they would do is they would do a monthly radio show where they would release a bunch of unreleased materials and remixes and things like that. That would happen. That component would probably still be the best executed part of NPG Music Club. But he would also occasionally do these episodes where they would be, sometimes it would be an hour. I think the first couple were like an hour, and then some were like 40 minutes. But it was essentially like a radio show. It was essentially like it was him talking, or maybe it wasn't him talking. Maybe he was using the voice modulator and he was talking, with that, or maybe he was, or maybe it was Rhonda that was emceeing the whole thing, and she was talking and she was sharing things about the clips on her album, and then they would have like little pieces of whatnot just all throughout the thing, and it was just like a mishmash of. It was a radio show, and it was
okay.
And sometimes it had a semblance of, and sometimes it didn't. I don't know how to explain it. But if the estate put out something like that, people would be like, wait, we want to hear Prince. Why do we have to hear clips from this person? Why do we have? So again, because of the fact that the original MP, some of those shows were just kind of like a hodgepodge of weirdness. It's just, we had patience and tolerance for it because it came from Prince. If the estate did it, they're not going to get the same leeway. They're not going to get the same leeway. So, again, the batches of downloadable music files and stuff that they did was cool. And that would probably be, as I said, the only thing that would be salvageable, AKA tolerated by the fans. So as a result, there has to be a strategy for it. So there has to be a strategy. Okay, so we'll charge this monthly amount and we will release, whatever you get has got to be worth that. So we'll release X amount of songs. Maybe it's a concert, maybe it's a sound check, maybe it's we're going to release something every month, whatever it is. So there has to be a strategy for it. But going back to his answer, when I asked him about it at the town hall meeting, he said that NPG Music Club is like a minimum of a couple of years out. So don't, get antsy. I mean, they announce movies sometimes that far out and you don't really think about it. So I can't wait until then. But yes, MPG Music Club it's still in the works. It's still coming. They're still strategizing how to best execute it, what's going to be released on it, get a schedule, all the stuff has got to be planned out. I don't even know what all the details are in it, but yes, the execution of it would be okay, but they got to make sure that all their ducks in a row and that people get what they expect, and that they're, it's, all the criticism that's going to come with it as it is. But yeah, all that stuff would be up for grabs. And he did ask, rehearsals, sound checks, those one-off concerts, those hit and run things. He literally asked everybody in town hall, do you guys want to hear those sound checks? Do you guys want to hear the rehearsals? And obviously everybody in the room was like, is this an actual question? Yes, of course. Yes, that's absolutely. Holy cow. Yes, absolutely. So, and I think he knew the answer to the question. He wanted people to say, look, I need you to confirm that's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're going to go through the process of putting this together and getting it out there, I need to know that this is what you want. And this is, that's kind of where it's at. So then the next bullet point was the release of more concert films is very much desired. And of course that goes without saying. By the way, we'll talk about this for tomorrow, but no, I'm not going to mention it because I don't want to duplicate myself, but they did actually play a full entire concert on 421. They did actually play a full entire concert. I'll tell you what that concert was, but it was pretty amazing. And again, this speaks to the utilization of something like NPG Music Club, where you can actually, it gives them the capability and the platform to be able to drop concerts, to drop those rehearsals, to drop those sound checks, to drop, it just allows them to bypass the need for all the marketing, all the packaging, all the pressing, the physical distribution, the inventory challenges, all that stuff just kind of gets, is not a consideration in this. You just have to make sure that you're pleasing the people that have subscribed to it. Now, you still got to market it. You still got to market the club as itself, but that's been a crux for the music industry now for the past, I would say 30 years, that people come in concert and you don't even know that someone played in concert in your town until like a couple days later. And you're like, they were just in town. I missed it.
Oh yeah.
The level of the capability, or I think because of the way the internet is, it's information can come from any one of 100 different places. And it's a lot. I think Bands in Town probably does the best job at kind of disseminating information, and Spotify and stuff like that. But anyways, the last bullets on here, on the letter, these are the last 3 bullets, and I'm going to read them all together. It says, the Prince fam all across the world wish to be engaged and helpful. Of course we do. Of course. The second bullet was, the preservation and expansion of Paisley Park is very important to everyone. Yes, I don't remember them making specific mentions of any expansion of Paisley Park, or, I mean, obviously the preservation of it, but just being able to, there's so much there to go through there. They'll be fine. They just got to be able to take what they have and execute it. Stuff like the shoe exhibits and things like that. And there was only 2 more bullets. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But he did close with, a statement, something about, right now they're just focused on the road to the Prince Celebration 2026. So right now they're focused on making sure that everybody that comes out in June for the celebration is going to get exactly what they want. They're going to enjoy themselves. They're going to have a good time, and they're going to feel like that was worth it. I had a great time. That's what they want right now. That's kind of where, that's the closest roadmap. And again, I've already said this a few times, but unfortunately I had to leave 10 minutes before he was finished, but not, from what I understand, there really wasn't much else that he had said in that part, more of just kind of collecting names and email addresses so they could get these bullet points out to folks. But anyways, I wanted to stay until he was finished speaking, but I just couldn't do it because we had to go to, had to get down to the Urban Classic event down at the Dakota in Minneapolis. So we're going to go back to talking a little bit about this, but we're going to take a little bit of a leeway because I want to stay chronological. So anyways, I hope that you guys, if you have any questions, maybe he addressed something that I didn't recall or didn't put on here. So feel free to ask a question if you want. And if he did give an answer to it, I'll tell you an answer. I'm sure it's okay to divulge, but anyways, leave Paisley Park. I've got my laptop in the car. I go directly down to downtown and got a great parking spot. Got the ticket. I got a great parking spot because it was like the entrance to the Dakota, and then only 4 parking spots back is kind of where I was, and it was right there on the side. I didn't have to mess with a parking lot or anything.
Sure,
but apparently the cops saw that it was a rental car and they gave me a parking ticket, even though I was already covered. Man, what a great friggin' show as far as that's concerned. Cause I mean, for those who don't know, Michael Bland's Project Urban Classic, they do a variety of different performances, Earth, Wind and Fire shows and reggae shows and this, that, and the other. And on this night, April 20th, they did a show called Revelation, which was pretty much just a celebration of the Minneapolis sound. I mean, it was primarily Prince, probably about 70% Prince, but you guys did a lot of really, really cool stuff. You did, I mean, Alexander O'Neal and Janet Jackson, and it was Jesse Johnson. So it was really, really cool to see a lot of folks. I finally got an opportunity to kind of hang out a little bit with Tommy Barbarella. Man, I'm sorry, that dude is just it's a good looking dude, man. What do they call, what is JB call him? Sexy enchilada? Is that what?
Yeah, we started calling him Suave Bola back in the day. Like, I think Morris Hayes or G Sharp, one of them dudes. It isn't the sexy enchilada. The Suave Bola. I started hitting him with that.
Sexy enchilada. It's just so funny. Yeah, that's great. I love that. But you know what? Obviously, you guys also had the amazing guest appearances by the one and only Liv Warfield. I love Liv. I've known Liv for many, many years. Matter of fact, when Prince started regularly posting and tweeting about Funkatopia, I realized that he was involved at that point because I was regularly getting, we had to struggle to get people to come on to do interviews. This is many, many years ago,
Sure.
15 years ago, whatever it was. And, you're just trying to get people to come on the show. And then all of a sudden I'm getting calls for interviews for Liv Warfield and Andy Allo and Elisa Fiorillo. And, you know, like, it's like, okay, I see what's happening now. It's like, this is, you know, Andy Allo actually came on the show. You know, Prince liked the radio show, and which, by the way, you can download the Funked Up app. If you have, it's on iPhone and Android. You can go online. You can search for Funkatopia, or you can look for Funked Up, FUNKEDUP. You can look for that and download the Funked Up app. It is not only an ASCAP licensed radio show, but it's also a global music rights licensed.
Global music rights. Yes.
So, which is basically the entity that has all the Prince tracks. But anyways, he had Andy come on the show, and Andy Allo took over the show for an hour and played like all her favorite songs that she, you know, grew up with, that she really liked, that kind of inspired her to get into music. And it was a really cool broadcast. Every time I try to repost it though, it got taken down because it was playing copyrighted music. This is what's going to happen. But I think if I put it up again, I might be okay, because, you know, Prince had Andy Allo come on the show, and it was Andy on those songs that I was playing. And it was, you know, so it was kind of like,
yeah.
So I maybe I'd be okay. Maybe I should try again so you guys can hear that, because it was a lot of fun. I definitely will put it out for you Patreon folks to listen to, because it was a fun show. We had a good time, and may already be out there. But yeah, so I've known these women for years, so it was such a blessing to be able to hear. And if you follow us on the new Facebook page, the version 2, which is at facebook.com/welcome to Funkatopia, the number 2, welcome to Funkatopia. That's where we've kind of set up V2 until we're outside of this suspension, if it ever ends, or, you know, I'm not going to go into details or whatever, but it was a comedy of stuff. So just,
yeah. Somebody was asking, like, well, what happened? But I don't know if you,
yeah. So, right.
Can you even really say, like, it's
calculable. So, yeah, right. It's just, yeah, it is what it is. So there's that. So it was great. And for those that you go to the V2 page, the Welcome to Funkatopia, I just posted a 10-minute performance from the second show of Liv performing Motherless Child. And to your point, which you had already mentioned before, Londell and Charles showed up for that second show. They were there for that second show. And it's, you know, so it was cool that they actually, you know, came there and made an appearance. And again, they didn't stop you guys from doing it. And you know, they weren't going to do that, you know, so it was really, really cool. And I don't know if you saw him or if he came over and said hello, but also at the show, Stokely was actually there too.
Yeah, he came up grabbing on me, man.
Did he?
Yeah, they don't know that I was in mint condition before I joined Prince's band. Like, just as they were getting signed to Terry and Jimmy, Perspective Records, I was starting to work with Prince. So, you know, it was interesting to see everybody kind of blossom from there. You know what I mean? It's like, I have like really interwoven stories with most of the prominent people of this music scene here. You know, at some point I've intersected with greatness, and then we all kind of seen each other on the way up. You know what I mean? It was a very
but you actually
time.
Were able to achieve greatness for yourself also, which is actually really cool. Because I have a very similar story, but I didn't achieve the greatness. Because I had before Funkatopia, I had a website called slabmusic.com. A lot of people don't know this. It stood for Southern Local Area Bands, Slab. Yeah, and, you know, we had John Mayer, pretty much all of the members of like just the Zach Brown band, John Hopkins, who's the bassist for, I mean, like all of them kind of came through, you know, the promotional and marketing process that I was doing with slabmusic.com many, many years back in the day.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, it was just weird to kind of, you know, sit back and like watch all these people that you've, you know, interacted with kind of go when you're like, oh, well, that's nice. But I mean, that's cool that you know, all of you kind of sprouted together and went out together. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty awesome process. So it was two amazing shows. I was so honored to be there. And for those that actually attended show 1 and show 2, if you were listening to the music overhead, that was me. I was actually DJing in the back. It was a little problematic because I had like a much funkier, much more dancey thing that I was going to be doing. And then when I got in there and I saw, you know, exactly how it was kind of laid out, I was like, okay, change of plans. I got you know,
tables and candles.
I got to talk to do the jazz stuff and kind of, you know, do like She Spoke to Me and things like that. And there's plenty of that to choose from. And on top of that, I couldn't hear the mixes because the way they had me patched into the board, I literally had to like listen how it was mixing out there. I was like, Sure. So it was okay, but it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. It was a great show. You guys did phenomenal. I DJ'd and introduced the band, and again, it was a great show. And you guys pretty much sold out both shows, right? I mean, what were your attendance records and everything that went with it? I mean, how did it all pan out?
I think it's somewhere. I don't want to misquote, but I thought that Stu said somewhere between 450. But I mean, at the most we could have sold was about 500 seats. So, I mean, between the first show and the second show, 4 something, you know, respectable number. Monday night, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys did great. I mean, for a Monday night, and I think even Stu actually came up to you and was like, look what we were able to do on a Monday night.
Uh-huh.
It's like, well, I mean, and you also had the benefit of a lot of people coming in town for, you know, not just for what was going on at Paisley Park, but they were like, oh, well, this is going on too. So they kind of, you know, wrapped that in. So it was a good, it was a good strategy to kind of do that. And so it worked out. Such a great show. For those that don't know, please make sure that you definitely follow Michael Bland in the socials, because he announces these urban classic shows all the time. And your band lineups are like no joke. I mean, like no joke. It's great to see, you know, Corey Eischen and Tracy Blake and Tommy Barbarella in the mix. And I mean, just all these people that are just legends and, you know, music legends in Minneapolis. And it's like, okay. And you got Ash Smash, which is just, I don't understand why she's not on the charts right now. Cause
we're working on it, man. We're working on it.
God, man, come on. It's just, that don't make any sense. And, you know, and of course, you know, anyways, yeah, make sure you follow him and get the Urban Classic.
Yeah. Follow me. Yeah. Hey, everybody, come on.
Yeah. So anyways, fast forward to after I get the ticket, when I come out to the car after the night's over and the ticket's on the car, not a fan of Minneapolis police. I don't think a lot of people are, but that's okay. I don't like that I got a ticket when I was actually covered in that spot, but okay. All right. And I can't contest it unless I am in Minneapolis. And I think they know that. It's okay. All right. Let's fast forward to the next day. The next day, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to be pressured. I didn't want to feel like I had to do anything. I did go to the original Pancake House, even though I can't eat that much food anymore, but I was like, I want pancakes.
What'd you have? Which kind?
I had the pancakes and the sausage, pancake sausage and eggs, essentially what I had, but okay. I didn't. And then I took at least more than half of what I could not eat, and I put it in the refrigerator at the hotel and heated it up next morning. I was like, I'm going to be, that's okay.
Go ahead, man.
But
can I make a remark to TOBJ24? Yeah, I didn't realize that it was, she was only going to come on and join us for a few numbers. Actually ended up, I'm talking about Liv. Somebody said they thought she was singing with us all night. No, we brought her in as a special guest. The time got away from us, so we didn't get as much of Liv as we wanted. And that's mainly my fault because I was so deep into the show. The first set, they only wanted us to go like 80, 85 minutes. I looked up, we were like at 80 minutes, and I didn't want to close out the show in a fragmented sort of fashion. You know, we kind of had a plan on getting out, and then we knew what we were going to do different for the second set.
Right.
Anyway, we had more material than we realized is what happened. And, you know, so, and I just met Liv. She's a lovely, lovely person.
Oh,
but
yes.
I'm not in a position with people I don't know to go, well, hey, listen, like I wasn't trying to hold her to any sort of like, you know, like specs. It's like, you know, it was really a thing. It's like we'd never met before. Like, come on and join us and let's see what we got, you know?
Mhm.
Maybe
Right.
we're somewhere down the line. Maybe she'll join the band for real. I have no idea, you know, but what she did do, she laid it out. So if you feel like you missed out. I mean, so did we. we missed out, and it was our fault or my fault. So anybody who had a problem with that realized that was not our intention, and we'll get it right sooner or later.
Well, and for what time that she was out there, she was totally on fire. At one point in time, I went backstage to say hello to her when she wasn't on stage, and she was full on prayer. So I was like, okay, I'll walk, because you guys were playing, and she literally was in the room, you know, giving praise and just kind of, you know, in the moment. And I was just like, well, I'm not interrupting. I'm not interrupting God. I'm not doing that. I'll come back.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean,
she came with it, man. She just, what the point of that is being that what she did give, it was worth it, man.
That was it.
God.
That was her offering for the evening. We paid her to come and do what she wanted to do, and she did it. And you know, I mean, I think it was G that said, I got love for Liv.
Yeah. G was on fire too. He's killing it.
Yeah, you know how he is. He's old pro.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he can do no wrong, right? He's on auto. He's just like flip, and he kind of goes in this.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. You set him up. I'll knock him down, brother.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, so even though I went to Cheapo Records, I was there for a little bit. Didn't really pick up. I picked up a Butch Walker album from Marvelous 3, because my brother is a huge fan of them, and I sent him a picture, and I was like, I don't remember ever seeing that. Do you have this? And he was like, I don't have it. I was like, that's all I needed to know. And I also picked up a Morrissey CD for my nephew, he loves the Smiths. And then for myself, the only thing I picked up was Frank Ocean's Channel Orange. That's Frank Ocean's album. That's
classic right there.
Yeah, it's that's the only thing I picked up for myself. I was like, I don't have this. I've heard it many times, but I need it on CD. So that was really all that I did. But Paisley Park did actually have their own event going on at Paisley Park that was happening pretty much all day. It's called A Day to Reflect, A Night to Remember. Yes. And what they were doing during the day is letting people kind of walk through. They had a lot of, you know, little exhibits and things. So there was a lot. There was a lot that they were going on, but obviously the main focus was, at 4:21 p.m. Central Standard Time, they were going to be doing a candlelight ceremony. But they actually had a lot of things going on. And matter of fact, they did actually post a little video that kind of showed some of the stuff that happened that day. Here's 36 seconds of what you probably missed. Let's play this.
Push this thing up. Push this thing up. Put it right here. That's too funky. That's too funky. It's too funky.
That was a little snippet of some of the things that they did, that they put out there. I was like, I like that. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that's all good. That's really, really great. And of course, so that happened, but I was not I was not part of that at all. I literally, I came for about an hour and a half to experience maybe about an hour and a half of it beforehand, but ended up outside in a discussion with a private discussion with Londell. There was actually a few other people that were there with us in the beginning, but then when they left, it was just me and Londell, and we just kind of went into, discussed quite a bit. A lot of things I knew, a lot of things I didn't know, a lot of things was like, what? And it gave me a little bit of clarity, but it was also what kind of caused me to kind of express, hey, I had a pretty positive experience here. This happened, I can't really talk a whole bunch about details until I find out what I can talk about, what I can't talk about. And then people were just going nuts. It was like, oh my God. And so it was just like, okay, calm down. But at 421, they actually had a setup in the MPG Music Club with candles and everything. Johnny came out and lit a candle to start the process, and it was 7 minutes of silence, which never ends up being 7 minutes of silence, because no matter how many times you tell people, turn off your phones, silence your phone, there's always somebody that's just like, okay, turn off your phone. So it was 7 minutes of silence. And so there was that. I know there was a guy that was standing right in front of me. Every single time that this person's phone that went off in the back, every single time it went off, I looked up at the back of his neck, and he's over there just going, just like motherfucker. I was just like, I feel you, man. I feel you. It's just like, honor the moment. And the first time it goes, actually, the problem is that, there was a lot of people that were actually recording. There were actually people that were filming it, which the previous ones they did, they were like, put your phone down. We're only doing it on this stream.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of people that were recording the whole friggin' thing, which was, but again, it was 7 minutes of silence, and that was actually, really, really cool. And again, I was having that conversation with Londell. It was all in all, it was a really nice opportunity. Then it kind of came, they let people kind of wander and move around and everything. And they were doing, just letting people just kind of fellowship and whatnot. And then it came time for the concert part of it. And as I've said publicly here, I said, this is the 10-year anniversary. I was hoping that they would play the Prince piano and a microphone thing that they did at Paisley Park, because that was the last tour that he did. Something that was going to be significant for the 10-year anniversary. And unfortunately, that part didn't happen. And again, I don't know the reasoning for it. Maybe it could have been that wasn't ready, or that this wasn't this, or that this wasn't that. Or it couldn't be released because of something licensing that was going on with Primary Wave, whatever it was.
I was going to mention, can I say something here? Because
go ahead.
Mentioned earlier that, they got into sort of a debacle with Netflix over the contents of the vault.
Correct.
So
yes,
that's a consideration that needs to be, people need to be cognizant of. Like go ahead.
Yeah. No, sorry. Jaden just walked in. Hello, dear. How are you? That's a very, very important part that you just mentioned too, because they caught a lot of flack for a lot of folks, from a lot of folks, about the lack of releases. And to your point, the unreleased material, a lot of the stuff, there was there's parts of it that are controlled by Primary Wave, but a lot of the unreleased material and stuff that was out there was tied up with the Netflix deal, because Netflix had full unfettered access to the vault, and that means that you could not release anything, because they didn't want anything coming out before the Netflix special came out, because they wanted to kind of be in a little bit of an unveiling with this piece or that piece or whatever it was. And so the Netflix thing really caused a lot of mayhem. And when it was finally done, they were able to kind of, free themselves up a little bit. But then again, they kept hitting all these little snafus and things that they were trying to do, and things didn't happen. And the one thing that Londell kept reiterating over and over again, we've only been here for like a little over 3 years. That's it. That it hasn't been us at the helm this whole entire time. And it's just like, there was all these fires and things that they had to put out, and all these, and and all these things that they had to do to kind of get things under control. And I don't know whether or not it's what they're doing is effective or not, or, you know, or is it kind of keeping things aligned with whatever their plan of attack is. But trust me, they hear you. They know what everybody wants. They see all the tweets, they see all the posts, they see all the comments, and they want to do it. They want to give everybody what they want, but it has to be done in a structured way that makes sense to what was happening. Oh, one thing I did mention. Thank you for reminding me of that Netflix.
They were talking about it in the thread. I just forgot.
Yeah, that was important. I forgot to mention was that. At the candlelight ceremony, somebody said they watched the ceremony on YouTube when it was going on, and that it was not silent. I don't know what you guys heard, but yeah, this was a lot of just. I thought it was relatively quiet, minus the stuff going off. But John Bream was there, and he was sitting at a table, feverishly writing and kind of, taking in the environment and kind of, writing down what he sees and what, doing his shorthand. And he was talking to, a few people came up to, and I don't know if this was, pre-planned or whatever, but there was people that was coming up to the table and he was writing things down and he was, writing and whatnot and asking their name, where they're from and how do you spell that? And so I guess I didn't read anything since I've been back that's been released by John Bream. So I don't know.
Okay.
But he was there and I'd never met him. And I walked up to him, and as one girl walked away, and I said, "Hi, John, how are you doing?" I said, and he goes, "Hi," and I said, "I'm Mr. Christopher Worth Funkatopia," and he goes, "I know who you are."
Yeah,
I'm like,
of course.
Oh no, that can't be good.
No. I mean, listen.
I would have asked him to expound, but I was mentally spent as it was. I was like, I don't know that I want to know what he knows and doesn't know.
Listen, I personally, I think that John Bream has gotten kind of a bad rap over the years.
Yeah, of course. Well,
he's always been
for a while
to me. Yes, I mean, Prince could feel whatever way he wanted. Whatever that was what it was. But I've done a lot of different things in this city. John has always supported me. John, Chris Riemenschneider, even Jim Walsh over in St. Paul. Like the journalists here in the city they're very supportive of the scene. John came Monday night. He came right on stage, right to me. Great show, man. I wish I would have heard more live. I said, me too. And but I mean, he's not the boogeyman, man. He's just has a very specific viewpoint, but he is, even if he's critical, he's still supportive. So I wanted to say that. Yeah,
he's a journalist. So, but when it was the way that he said, "I know who you are." It was the way that he said it. I was just like, God, well, I don't know what that means. Well, but I was like, all right, well, I mean, and it may have been fine. It may have just been saying it, and I just heard it wrong or whatever. But it was just like, I was just like, great. Well, it's good to meet you.
I'm gonna give him. I'd say give him the benefit of the doubt.
I would too. Because I don't know what he could have heard about me that would have been.
Well, now I'm gonna call him. Like, was it something? Was it nefarious? What did you mean by that?
No. He probably didn't mean anything. It was like,
probably not.
I was like, I know. Yeah. But then we got at the beginning of the show, we got to witness. Well, first off, I was walking in. They're about to do the concert part of it. And who do I see shopping in the store but the beautiful Maya McLean?
All right.
Who many of you don't know who she is. She is half of the twins that so into the dancers that he had, she was half of them. And she is very spiritual person, very, one of these, and that's essentially what she did. She was actually brought in to kind of set the tone and kind of get people in the mood before the concert. And so this is actually her on the stage. She was actually just sitting sitting there with her legs crossed, and she did have a guitar there, but I don't remember her touching the guitar at all. If she did, she may have like quickly reached over and like maybe plucked a string just to get a tone, but she had, those vibration bowls or whatever they're referred to there. She also had her phone that was kind of there to play, different sounds and tones, and she was kind of walking people through getting into the right mindset. You are about to witness Prince in concert here. And so, he's no longer with us. You need to appreciate that portion of it for what you're about to witness. He's about to be on the screen. We all miss him. She was just kind of getting everybody kind of in that vibe. And she was there for about, I'm not going to say what I heard. She did it for about 15, 20 minutes, which I was actually surprised. And there was a lot of people, I saw people coming up to her after and was just like, that was great. I felt like I was in the moment. I felt like, I felt like everything was good. Thank you for walking me through that. I've never done anything like that before. She was doing all the, breathe in, hold it, do this, do that. Yeah. So, right on, if you can walk them through those breathing exercises, it's, it is, pretty amazing. So again, the concert that I didn't know what concert we were about to see, but then they started it and it was phenomenal. It wasn't what I anticipated. It wasn't, I got to move these glasses off my head because it's like killing my ears. It wasn't what I anticipated, but what it was they played Prince and Third Eye Girl from the Ziggo Dome in Amsterdam. That happened on May 25th, 2014. That was the Hit and Run Part 2 tour. I think I have the graphic here. I do. So this tour, the Hit and Run part, I couldn't find a high res graphic, sorry, but it's a Part 2, Hit and Run Part 2, and it was Prince and Third Eye Girl, and it was the Amsterdam show. And let me just say, once again, this one of these shows that you're not exactly sure what shows are recorded to that extent, but it was like a high resolution show, multi-camera shots, lots of things going on, the sound was friggin' awesome. Obviously you're in Paisley Park, so the sound's going to be, the thump, 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 everything was just on fire. It was just such a great show. And I remember both Londell and Charles coming up to me separately and saying, do you think, should we release this? This is what people want. And we're like, yes. I was like, yes. And then yes, again, yes. Seeing some leaked footage of some of the Third Eye Girl shows online. Obviously there's a variety of different places that, but not this quality, not what we saw. It was like, okay, I don't, and it was the whole show. It wasn't in the previous celebrations, when they would say they were doing a concert, they wouldn't play the whole entire concert. They may only play like an hour of the concert.
I see.
They played the entire concert of this. So after Maya got done doing, her moment where she was, having you connect to the energy of the evening, then thank you, DI. Then they played that show, and it was great because you got that, the long audience intro of people going crazy right before he's about to come on stage, and they had the little fire lighting things that they had, and then even after the concert was over, it was loud and it was boisterous and it was clear and thick, and the mix was just freaking unbelievable.
Yes, sir.
And then even after the concert was over, they even did the full encores, including the 5 minutes of just the crowds cheering.
Yeah.
So it was like, wow. It was like, so you were there. It was so big. It was so incredible. And it was really exciting to me because I felt like, wow, this is what really people want. I mean, people really need to see this. And it's just like, they have it. And then, it's probably going to see the light of day. So we have it. But if you were there, you got an opportunity to see that. So all that to be said, great show. Now, let me pause for a second. As you know, we were planning a candlelight ceremony that kept bouncing around time-wise. Remember, I was, I had the candles and everything sent to you, and I was just like, here, here's the candles. I had them sent to your house, and we were going to do it after the second show, but for whatever reason, we had some weird front that came through Minneapolis that night, and it was cold.
That'll happen.
Yeah, it was cold. And what I was originally told, and in my stupidity, I should have looked at the map, but somebody says, "Oh yeah, First Avenue where the mural is only like a couple blocks away from the Dakota." I was like, "Okay." So that's what we'll do. We'll all get together after the show, on the second show, and we'll walk from the Dakota over to the mural with the candlelight ceremony, blah, 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 blah. That didn't happen because we heard multiple people saying it's too cold and it's long, and it wasn't 2 blocks. It's like it's like 6 or 7 blocks. And that's a long where for a lot of people who are dressed up, many of which are women in dresses and high heels and all this stuff.
To be walking around. Yeah.
Yeah, and in downtown Minneapolis, which isn't the same as it was, years ago. So
it's not as bad as they say, but it's different.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely different. But so, and my apologies to anybody. I did have a handful of people say we went to the mural and we were down there waiting. And we didn't.
It's TLBJ24 just said you left some of us hanging.
Yeah, and my apologies. My apologies. That was not the plan, but it was not. It was trying to figure out the best way to disseminate that information too, because it was like it's not like, because once the show was over, the mics were off, everything was off, so it was just like I don't even know who I'm gonna who I tell.
Dorothy Inez says that was my fault.
So anyway, so there was that portion of it.
Wow. These things happen, man.
I said, okay, here's what we'll do. I'll actually do it at Paisley Park, across the street at Riley Creek. They have different tunnels. Matter of fact, this backdrop that you see here is the tunnel, one of the tunnels at Riley Creek. It is a tunnel. People refer to it as Graffiti Bridge, but Dorothy Inez says, stop referring to it as Graffiti Bridge. It's not Graffiti Bridge. Stop saying that. But people still refer to it as Graffiti Bridge because it is a bridge, and underneath this bridge, people have graffitied all over it. It's like graffitied everywhere. Yeah. So that's why it gets referred to as that. And I did the 5-year anniversary, and we had a great candlelight ceremony there. I don't remember how many people there were last time, but it was a good bit of people, and it was really, really cool. And I said, well, I want to do it now. I have these candles. I want to do this. But Paisley Park was doing their candlelight ceremony at 421. And I'm like, I got to make sure that there's got to be some separation. So I want to wait till night. I said, I will wait until all the festivities are over, and then I'll do it. And I'll just let people know. I'll try my best to let as many people know as I possibly can. But I don't want to step on anything that Paisley Park is doing or conflict with it. So that's what's going to happen.
Sure.
So Londell comes over to me towards the end of the concert, and I lean over and I said, look, I just want to let you know that we are doing a candlelight ceremony across the street at Riley Creek. And it's going to, after everything is over. So I didn't want to conflict with what you were doing, but I just wanted to let you know, if you happen to hear about it, just know I'm not, trying to, sneak behind your back or whatever. It's not the big of a deal. It's a public place or whatever, but I still feel like, we're starting a new relationship here. So I feel like I need to be, transparent with you about some of the things that are going on, because one of the things that he's repeatedly said is like, if you guys want to do something, ask. We may be okay with it. He wasn't just referring to Funkatopia. He was referring to, other people that may want to do things.
Oh, sure.
He was just like, we may be fine with it. We may say, that sounds cool. So he was like, oh, cool. Thank you for letting me know. And so the concert ends, and somebody in the chat room's got to help me with her name, but it's Londell came on stage and Charles came on stage, and the woman that is normally there during the celebration with Tommy, I can't remember her name. Is it Janet? I want to say it's Janice. I don't remember. I can't remember her name.
Jessica.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Jessica. Thank you.
Thank you, TLBJ.
Thank you. Yeah, quick. Thank you. So Jessica comes on and says, thank you, does a cordials. Thank you for everybody for coming out. We really, really appreciate it. You coming out and supporting Prince and helping to move his legacy forward is phenomenal. We really appreciate it. And one of the people that is really helping to move Prince's legacy forward is Funkatopia. And literally, she's saying this from the Paisley Park stage, flanked by Londell and Charles and a room full of people. And I'm just like, Oh, okay. And she's like, they're going to be having a candlelight ceremony across the street at Riley Creek. So if you want to close out the night, go, find him and he'll tell you, how to get over there. What's the plan? Da, 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 da. And thank you all for coming and good night. Of course, I was paraphrasing, but that's essentially what happened. And I was like,
Yes.
wow. Okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was, that was quite a gesture. That's quite a gesture. Considering everything that, has transpired over the years and everything, was like, okay, that was really, really cool.
Yeah. I really believe that they're trying to, listen, the reason I do what I do for a living and the reason I'm doing what I'm doing presently is I don't like people telling me what to do, man. I don't care for it. And y'all know how y'all are. This is the most demanding group of people I've ever encountered in my life.
Yep.
Throughout the world and in perpetuity. I love Prince's fans, but they are insistent.
Yeah. It's a lot.
The bottom line is that none of us are in a position to demand any of this, And I know they keep going back to, yes, but how come and what if and why don't they? Listen, we don't know the whole story.
Right.
It's not for us to know. So
yeah.
So I want to know what's going on. Yeah, okay, we all do. But you know what? I want to know what happens in the afterlife.
Yeah,
but I
absolutely.
ain't trying to die to get there.
Yeah, right. It's just that you're fine. And one thing that keep coming up is that you look at the volume of music that has been released posthumously. Not under the current.
Yes, but there's so much more. There's so much more.
Right.
They said, and they didn't. Things happen.
Yep.
Things happen, man.
Yeah. So I get it. And so again, that was just an amazing gesture. That also kind of fueled the fire a little bit. When I kind of, at this point, this is when I made that letter and said, this has just been a very, very positive experience.
Sure.
I learned a lot about the estate. I learned a lot about the people that I've had on the show and kind of gotten some background stories of things that I was not aware of that don't set well with me. That I'm going to investigate some more. I'm not going to, break any news or anything, but it's just like, there's so much that we just don't know. But all that being said, we had a bunch of people come out to Riley Creek. This is a couple pictures from the candlelight ceremony that we did at Riley Creek. And just as God would have it, we're walking down Riley Creek, and there's a random guy down there. I think his name was James. And he was just playing an acoustic guitar in the tunnel because he likes the acoustic, and he happened to be playing The Cross as we were walking over there. And it's just, he's like a big Prince fan, and he just sitting, just playing Prince music. And he wasn't with me. He wasn't part of the thing. He just happened to be there in that spot, in that moment. And we were all able to just sit there and just kind of enjoy each other and just have this candlelight ceremony. We had the purple candles. I also had a bunch of purple beads that I handed out to a bunch of people, but all these people came out to Riley Creek, and it was really, really cool to see all these folks out there, just kind of closing out the night and just kind of having the closure a little bit to kind of give that night a rest, and kind of just kind of be done. And it was just overall, again, it was just such a really, really cool experience. And I greatly appreciate, how cordial that they were really in all of it. And, kind of in closing on this, really in all honesty, is that Londell actually sent me a pretty lengthy letter, a lengthy personal letter last night, or something yesterday afternoon. And it's just all just positive, and it's all just like, look, it just kind of gave the symbol, like, we hear you. There's reasonings for it. Yeah. We need to be better on transparency. We need to be better on things, but you also have to realize that there's sometimes when we're not transparent, there's a reason for the lack of transparency. And it's just, so I that's basically what this is that, as I said earlier in this, anything that you're going to get from in regards to Prince music or any releases or anything that's gonna officially come out there is gonna come from these folks that are in the mix right now. So regardless of how you feel about, certain characters or certain personalities or what happened with this person in the past and what happened there and what happened with that and why is this person here, none of that is relevant right now, because this is where we are. These are the people that are at it, and they want to do right by you, but they also realize that there is this, I don't know how to, I really honestly don't know how to explain or kind of expand on, what they have to be dealing with. But I also know, I just know that people's emotions are really, really high. And,
Yes.
I just wanted to be able to report a lot of positive things coming down, and it looks like they're actually making strides to kind of go, okay, we hear you.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to verify though that the comments I've been reading, man, there's a lot of unappreciative folks over here that they just what you have not told me is when is the next scheduled release, and how come. There's a lot of unnecessary beef, man. I don't know why they need to stick their chest out on it. You're not that sense of entitlement is not attractive.
Well, I
to me, to the estate, to anybody.
Well, and I said, and I did say to him when we were outside, I did say to him, I said, you did say last celebration that you were going to have a release schedule that you were going to, and he was just like, because I'll have to look back. And again, they want to, because the Record Store Day thing would have happened if it wouldn't have, crashed and burned with the manufacturing of the vinyl. So there's like things that I just think I agree that there needs to be a release schedule, but you can also you would have to appreciate the apprehension of said release schedule, because God forbid you don't meet a date this.
Yeah, that extra pressure didn't help anything. I mean, it's to me what I feel like is happening is they are allowing themselves to be a little bit more vulnerable. And that's where it starts. Soda. Yeah, okay. Well, we're gonna get a Doritos endorsement now.
Yeah, no, we're not. No, that'd be nice. If you want a really good tasting, refreshing pineapple drink, please make sure that you go and purchase Doritos pineapple soda.
Delicious. It's
delicious. Yep. Tonight's sponsor is Doritos pineapple soda. Not necessarily.
You crazy vatos out there.
But obviously what they are focusing on is this. The celebration that's going to be happening June 3rd through the 7th. And tickets, they're saying tickets are selling fast. It's not a marketing gimmick. They are selling fast. It's like,
I'm sure. Look at who they got.
Right. And this should have served really as an indicator that they were paying attention, because this was something that I've been saying on this show for years about who they were having coming out for these sessions. Like, okay, these celebrations are cool, but you've pretty much exhausted everybody that's in the purple circle that you would be able to use. I mean, the only thing probably you haven't done is Apollonia 6 reunion. I mean, outside of that, you need to be, there's so many people that are tied to Prince in a variety of different ways, and just massive acts that are out there that are inspired and here we are. Members of the MPG and the Revolution are going to be there. That's still the purple side of things as well. You got Shaka Khan in the mix, Morris Day's in the mix, Miguel's in the mix, Tevin Campbell.
Yeah.
Bilal. I'm excited to see Bilal.
TV. Yeah, man.
I love Bilal. I've been following Bilal since the beginning, when he made one of his debut appearances here in Atlanta at this place called Funk Jazz Cafe that used to happen here years ago. And Bilal, nobody knew who he was, and he came on and did one of, this is him in his prime. He's in his prime now, but back in the day when he was young and he was just like, it was just, I love Bilal. Kat Graham. I'm not familiar with Kat Graham. Who is Kat Graham?
She's an actor, but I know she was making music also. I saw her on Ridiculousness.
Okay. And of course,
many years ago, but
Sounds of, oh yeah, now I remember. Okay, I knew who she was at. Sounds of Blackness. Okay, that's obvious. And then you got Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Bootsy Collins.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
Yeah, they're stepping up, man. I'm sorry. You can hate all you want, but the fact is,
yep,
that all looks pretty killing to me.
Man, I'm looking forward to this. I'm hoping that I can go. I mean, hopefully being able to be there, in some type of media capacity for sure. I'm hoping, because, other than that, I got to figure out which credit card I got to shove this on. Try to make this happen. And I've got a discount code because I've been to so many of them, but still, it's just,
Sure.
And I just want to say, I greatly appreciate, everything that you guys have been there for so long. So many Funkatopians in here. We've been doing this. I've been doing this for 20 years, and so many of you guys have been there since day one. I mean, some of these day one people that have been here for so long, the Nick Garcias and the John Frost and Dorothy Inez and
sure,
Audrey and all these people, Craig, and I could just go down the laundry list of people that have just been here since the beginning. And just thank you to all of you. And I appreciate all the comments, and I appreciate I guess the counsel, the sound counsel that I've received from a lot of people, during this whole process, because again, when I discussed the positive experiences that I had while I was there in Minneapolis, man, I just got raked over the coals, and I couldn't, and it was like the level of vitriol was just like, and it's still out there. I mean, it's still happening in drips and drops here in the chat room, but because I did see a couple of comments in passing. I'm not going to draw attention. Somebody else is like, I shouldn't even looked over there because I knew if I watched it, it was just going to derail me, and I wanted to be able to have some semblance of order in how we did the show tonight. And the purpose of the show was just to say, it's not all as horrible and just. It's just not that.
Yes, the assumption that the estate is trying to destroy Prince's legacy is it's far-fetched.
Yes,
if that,
it is. And there's stuff that's there's stuff coming, and we know there's stuff coming. No, we don't have any specific release dates, and again, I'm sure there's a reasoning for them not, doing that because of the apprehension. There was supposed to be the Record Store Day, and that's the Record Store Day was a perfect example of that, because there was a leak that they said it was going to be released, and then when it got canceled, they were like, oh they canceled it. They whatever.
Sure.
Like, but that's not what happened.
Let's give them time to work it out, so that when they're sure, and they're not like having a knee-jerk reaction to the anxiety, that anxious.
Yeah. So that was the point of this, is that I just want to let you guys know that they are listening. You can find them. They're not hard to find. Sometimes they're not going to have the answers that you want, because, to reiterate, Londell and Charles and Johnny, there's a bunch of stuff they don't do. There's a bunch of stuff that they're getting blamed for that they don't, that's not even part of that's not what they're in that to do. So it's just
some of these people in here, they will never capitulate, man.
Oh no, I didn't expect capitulation.
No names right now, but it's really
I know
you not reaching.
I know.
Maybe
I
they'll
don't
go somewhere else after.
Yeah, I don't need to. Those people aren't going to be reached anyways, because though there are people that have very much hardened their heart on some of the players in this mix, and that's fine, but that player or those players that you have issues with are the ones that are going to be in the mix releasing this material. So it's none of that is going to change. None of how you feel about any individuals is going to change. None of that's going to change. Just hope that, we just get like a good, I'm just looking forward to some of the stuff that's going to be happening. And again, I want to be a a good voice, a good, solid, and dependable voice for you guys, and hopefully we can do that.
Sure, we're not here to hate. We're here to constructively criticize in hopes of correction, modification, communication.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be, I think you guys will be happy with some of the stuff that's coming even within this year. I don't know all the details, but I do know, a lot of the things that are happening. And I mean, we obviously know that the Parade box set's going to be more than just, a reiteration of, things that came out with Parade. I mean, with Around the World in a Day, it's going to be different than that. But there's so much stuff that comes from that world. And I try to get some specifics on that. And, is there going to be unreleased stuff on that box set? Yes. Well, by unreleased, do you mean like radio edits that hadn't been released? Are you considering that unreleased? I'm talking about unreleased songs we haven't heard. And he's just like, it's like, okay, I'm not going to, never mind. I'm not going to pull, they want to be really withhold some stuff, and that's fine. I would rather be surprised.
They've got to now because they know the danger of speaking too soon or without certitude.
Yeah.
They'll get lynched for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Maya McLean is apparently in the chat room. Hey, Maya, how are you doing? How are you? I hope you're doing well. You looked absolutely fantastic and just lovely. It was a great opportunity to get to hang with you in the store. So that was actually really, really cool. And actually after as well. But man, she was just running everywhere. So
right.
She had one of those movie star schedules where it's like, oh, we're doing this and then we're going here and we're gonna go here. I can't. I don't know how you guys did it when you were with NPG. It's just like, oh, we're going to be here. We're going to sleep and then we're getting up and we got to be on a plane at 8:30. I just was like, man,
there was never any discussion about sleep. Sleep was, more often than not an option. It's, I mean, I can't tell you how many times.
What was the worst show? What was the worst scenario where you were in one location, you had to be another? And it was like the smallest and tightest window of time that you can remember. We're like, I don't know how we're going to do this. Was there a specific time you remember?
I don't think it was that. Usually the people who coordinated those things were they, by the time I got to work with Prince, they had it down. They knew what they were doing. So it wasn't so much a matter of that. It had to do more with just like the fact that if our equipment was getting ready if it was going on the boat to be sent, to Europe, like Prince would do everything he could, before the equipment would go, like we'd be recording nonstop or we'd be rehearsing something nonstop. Like he would just juice it because he would know for the next couple of weeks, his activity would be low. He'd have to sort of do whatever he could to keep himself entertained, So it was always that. As soon as things were starting to, as soon as we were getting ready to travel, you got worn down. It's like sleep on the plane on the way over. It's 9 hours, But I mean, like sleep was something we discussed, man. It's like it was a bad thing to talk about.
Man, yeah, it's just. I mean, even when I was thinking, if there was going to be the potential that I was going to have to fly out to LA, I was just like dreading some of those things. It's like, I gotta be here and I gotta be there. And I was like, so I was kind of glad that some things didn't shake out because it was just like, all right, this has got to be done. There's got to be some thought put into this. I feel like things are haphazard right now. So,
yes,
I'm just, so there is. Well, that's basically the show tonight. We essentially wanted to make sure that you guys kind of got, it was mostly me talking. Thank you for the interjections, Michael. I need it because,
hey man, I'm the wingman,
Yeah, well, we need to have, I think the next show we need to have, we need to do another one. If it's like a Michael Q&A where we do, like we did that one show where I was just asking you a bunch of random questions, just because I know people love to hear you talk and not me talk. Okay. But unfortunately what was happening is that what I some of the stuff that I released just got people going. So I was just like, all right, well, I guess we got to address this. So
You
now
had a
it's
lot,
gone. It's out of the way.
You needed to clear the air, man. So
Yes.
I mean, and I haven't been on for like the last 3 weeks or whatever. So
Yep.
it's for me to ease back into it. I mean,
Yeah,
but
it's all good.
certainly, whenever you want, man, I'll take any questions. I'll answer any questions I consider to be valid. You know how some of these people like to jump out, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, man. Well,
Yeah.
we'll do something. We'll have some fun with it.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I have a guest that's been wanting to come on the show. We're trying to work some things out, but I will call him and see what next Tuesday looks like, and then see if we can, because he knows a little bit about you, so we can. I'm not going to tell you who it is. He knows
All
a little
right,
bit about you, so he may be able to
fine.
kind of dig with some random questions. We'll see.
I
We'll see.
like playing "This Is Your Life" on this show.
Obviously.
That's all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. This has been Funkatopia Live. I am Mr. Christopher. That is Michael Bland. And be sure you visit his socials, because there's more Urban Classic shows coming up. You got another one coming up in June. We'll talk about that. We'll
Sure.
talk about that as they get a little bit closer, and just kind of
Yes,
people
sir.
can plan things out. And so much stuff going on in town
Absolutely.
in June. And of course, I'll be up there in June. Of course I will. That's not even a question whether or not I'll be up there. It's whether or not I'll be in the building.
Right.
I'll be there. I will see if I'm there. We'll see.
I'll be there somewhere.
That's right.
Yes.
But God bless all of you. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're not upset with me. I hope you're doing well. Hope you stay blessed and everything. And man, just be cool. You have to not get upset about the things you can't control. And it's just because it doesn't accomplish anything, and we aren't the ones that are holding the keys. We don't have that power. So,
And sometimes it's not even them, the people you're trying to blame. It's
That's
not
right.
always on them.
That was another point that we made a couple of times, and that is like they're addressing your questions, and they're there and they're available to take your beating,
But yeah,
but
sure.
they're not the ones. But anyways, all
They're
right.
not always the culprits. Anyway,
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we will see you next Tuesday. God bless. We'll see you. Bye now.